people, it's Mr. Justin Ray. I got people trying to slander my name again, set me up, lie on me.
Happy Valentine's Day!
So my wife and I are never going to give up on our family or others. We love our children, we love our family, and we love every single person out there.
Man accused of staying in a storage unit with his children alongside human remains squared off with a judge today.
And the truth will reveal itself, because in the long run, the nice guys always finish last.
Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. I am Sherrilyn, and I am so glad you found me. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you for joining me every single upload. I love and I appreciate you so much. Okay, I feel like, it's long overdue for the people who have been asking, like, when's a true crime video? Well, here it is, okay, today. I feel like I haven't said or been on a, what the fork is wrong with people tangent in a minute. I mean, like I say it every video, but this is like, yeah, I don't know. It's just the expression. The expression says it all, okay? I accidentally came across this case when I was looking into another case. And then when I heard about this, I just did a quick pivot so fast that my head span, because I was like, I have to find out everything that I know about this. I don't know how I didn't hear about this, and I'm curious to know in the comments if you guys did too, but this is wild. So today we are talking about Justin Ray and the horrific crimes that he is charged with, which are deeply disturbing, but it's like this whole thing is so wild. It's like right when you think that is so messed up, that's so disgusting, you find out even more. There's even more effed up and more disgusting. So this all started on October 26, 2017, when police in Lenexa, Kansas received a complaint about somebody sleeping in a U-Haul storage unit. So they go to the storage unit, investigate, and when they arrive, they find 35-year-old Justin Ray, a 2-year-old little girl, and a 5-day-old baby girl. So the immediate concerns for the officers were the appearance of the children, specifically the 2-year-old who police said looked very pale. She had deep bags under her eyes and thinning hair. One of the officers actually testified that it looked like the child had gone through like chemo treatments. And then the newborn baby also had like a very serious eye infection that clearly needed medical attention like days ago. So Justin identifies these children as his own. He says his wife, 33-year-old Jessica Monterio Ray, was in Arizona and they were on the way to meet her there. So the whole situation feels off. Like, what woman who just gave birth is going to leave her newborn baby and like meet the dad with the 2 other kids in a few days? On top of that, just like his vibe was anxious. It's really cold outside, I guess, on this day. And despite police trying to urge Justin to get the kids into like a warmer space so they can talk, he's just like holding this newborn baby who's not properly even clothed on top of the other issues that they can see visibly. And he's like refusing. So due to that condition alone, it was pretty clear that he also didn't have adequate housing on top of that, like staying overnight in a storage unit. He is placed under arrest for child endangerment. So once he's placed under arrest, he makes this horrific statement to police. He points out to this white and red, like igloo style cooler, like the igloo brand coolers with wheels. And it was noticed just upon the first inspection of officers in the storage unit. And he's just like, Jessica, his wife, he's like, Jessica is in there, in the cooler. Sure enough, when they open the cooler, they find Jessica's dismembered remains. And now allegedly at this point, he changes his story. So at first he said, she's meeting us. Now it's like she's in there, and he said that she, quote, I'm going to say, she unalived herself after giving birth in a hotel room that they were staying at earlier. So Justin says to the police, his story is that when they stopped him, he had like great intentions. He's like, I was on my way to catch a train to Arizona with the kids, and this is where he was wanting to take his wife's body to have like a proper burial and ceremony. And he's saying he did it this way because he loves her, he loves the family so much, and he wanted to keep them all together. Like I said, it just keeps going. So the story from here keeps changing and getting more and more disturbing. And when I say disturbing, I mean disturbing. What I've learned looking into Justin is that he likes to talk a lot, and he went as far as to actually reach out to a reporter for Fox 4 named Kathy Quinn and requested a in-person meeting with her to tell his side. So he was writing like a bunch of, seems like very manic letters, not only to her, like to judges, police, like anybody. I'll have them linked in the description so that you guys can like go through and just like see the writing. But Kathy ends up doing a 9-part podcast because she went and interviewed him. It was for him to tell her what actually happened, his side of the story, and that, you know, this is all a misunderstanding. I'll also have her podcast linked in the description. It's like, yeah, it's 9 parts, but it's really short episodes, easy to listen to. A lot of it, even in the intro, is kind of like the repeat clips so that you can like fast forward. Very easy, quick listen to. But it also has like audio from that interview. It's really hard to even know where to start because the amount of times the story has changed and how much he just kind of like talks in circles. It's kind of like our last episode with Stephen Baldwin, like just saying a whole lot without saying a lot, really. So I'm going to go through with what I have and what I was able to piece together as best that I can. If anybody's familiar with the case and then I've gotten anything wrong, please let me know. So according to Justin, he and Jessica got together on September 23rd, 2003, and they married on January 11th, 2005. And basically he describes it as one of those relationships where pretty much from that time that they were just together day in and day out. They ended up having 6 children together, but at the time of discovering the 2 youngest and Jessica's remains, they had lost custody of 4 of their children who were removed from the state officials in California and Arizona. So around this time, when those first 4 children were removed, they started a YouTube channel, they being Justin and Jessica, where it was mostly him talking about, again, very Stephen Baldwin coded, but now I don't know Stephen's intentions. I'm still all over the place with him. Could still be in that rabbit hole. I don't know, you guys. But it was, you know, the government kidnapped them. They're doing all of these terrible things to our kids. And basically that they did nothing wrong to lose custody of their kids, and like pleading with people to like come across the YouTube videos and help them out.
Strengthen your loved ones who passed on. Same thing. I was like, oh, my grandmother died. Oh, my wife died. My child died. Well, you know what? They're actually dead, okay? Or they're living somewhere in around whatever you believe in, but they're not with you. And I'll tell you what, same thing as your children getting beaten, molested, drugged by some nasty ass fucking pigs and whatever corporate fucking medical field bullcrap.
I don't forget my rights, nor yours, and I will fight for them all. Everybody's rights. To the end of time.
I mean, at the end of the day, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but just from the videos that I have watched, he definitely gives off the vibes of like, like maybe troubled, I guess would be the best way to explain it. And that seems to be confirmed when Jessica's sister Rhonda was interviewed, and she said that the family had been very worried for Jessica and the children for the majority of the 10 years that Jessica and Justin were married. And they truly felt that she was in danger, basically being with Justin. In Arizona, he had been, I think there were several convictions. He had been convicted of theft and I think multiple making threats. Rhonda, in the interview, she says that she truly feels that had Jessica been able to break away from Justin, she would have regained custody of the children. But she was a very good person who was influenced by people, and specifically Justin. And that can be really troubling when it's somebody who doesn't have like good intentions, or they just, are kind of like, I'm just going to say, like, he's like off his freaking rocker, right? So if someone is like impressionable and influenced by somebody like that, it makes sense. And again, we don't know what happened. So I'm not even going to like speculate what happened in the house and like what she should have done in that role. I do think that it seems like, yes, the best way that I can say it is like that she was like very influenced and impressionable and like within his clutches. And her family thought like there must have, been a part of her that like felt sorry for him, like could see the good in it, didn't want to believe that he could ever be somebody who could take like anything to like this extreme. And then just being a loyal person like her whole life, she was loyal to the wrong person in this case. Sadly, we will never know what could have happened if Jessica was given the opportunity to break away from Justin and be able to, as her sister said, make things right with her kids and the family. So what we do know is Justin's version of events, which has always been very inconsistent, but it seems like the whole situation, the scenario as it played out that has stuck the most was that he doesn't know what happened. He said that Jessica went into labor on October 20th, and he was at work when this happened. And according to him, he begged Jessica to go to the hospital, but she didn't want to go. Now, when Kathy Quinn, the reporter who he wrote to, was learning more about him, she learned that they were both members of the Christian Science Church. And so she brings this up to him and says her understanding of their beliefs was that medical intervention was against basically what they believed in. So she's like, try to help me out here. Did she want to go? Did she want to go to the hospital? You didn't want to? Did she? And then you agreed? Or like she didn't, she found it hard to believe that he was like, you go to the hospital, and that it was just Jessica saying that she didn't want to. So I don't know anything about the religion, but based on a kind of like a definition in one of the articles that I read, it said Christian Science is based on the idea that disease and injury can be healed through spiritual means, and it's based on the principles of primitive Christianity and its lost element of healing. I guess the main source of the teaching for Christian Science is Science and Health with Key to the Sculptures, written by Mary Baker Edie. And I guess this book combines her interpretation of scripture with her teachings on science, and it kind of being like mind over matter. So when she says this to him, he's like, yes, this was our faith, but despite that, I did want her, this time to get medical intervention. Regardless of what the truth is, we know, the one thing we do know is that Jessica died after giving birth on October 20th, whether it was during the delivery, whether it was self-inflicted, or somebody else took her life. And after that point, when she was no longer alive, what Justin told the police that happened next is so alarming and disturbing. Like, I can't even process it being real life. This is one of those moments where you definitely just like have to like disassociate. But he said after Jessica's death, he didn't dismember her body until 2 days later. And in those 2 days, basically like they were hanging, like close or hanging around her. And he took photos of the kids with their mom's body because he, quote, wanted good memories for them to look back on. According to Kathy Quinn, during the police search of his phone, there were photos that the police described where it appeared like the baby was latched to Jessica's chest, and the color of Jessica's body was not looking like it was taken prior to death. It looked obvious that it was after she had already passed. Like, that is, yeah, I don't even have like an actual word that describes how forking disturbing that is. Anyways, it was 2 days later, according to Detective Shannon Murphy, that Justin told her, so 2 days after coexisting together with the children with her when she's unalived, that he then decided to, quote from him, skin her like a fish and dismember her in the bathtub of the hotel that they were all staying with the children present in that hotel. He then said that he put some of her body parts in the cooler, and then he used the stove to boil remaining parts that didn't fit, and then disposed some of those in the toilet. I'm so sorry, guys. Like this, it's so fucked up. And investigators were able to find human tissue in the drain of that tub to corroborate all of this. So, despite his disturbing confession, he feels he's done nothing wrong. He's like, all these confessions are happening like prior to him like reaching out to Kathy. And he's like, you know, listen to me, and writing letters to the judge being like, you got to let me go now. Like, you're violating my rights. So that's what he's been doing since his arrest, writing letters to the police, judges, lawyers, reporters, just not even like saying, I want to expedite this. I want this. It's like, you need to release me right now. And my rights are being violated. And you kidnapped my children. Like, you took them away from their father. And you'll notice, like, if you watch any of, you know, like listen to any of his interviews or come across his YouTube, I'm not even going to share it because it's just like ridiculous. We're not going to, you know, go over there and give any form of like views or support. But that's his like whole like MO, like or his famous complaint, if you will. Everything is in violation. Nothing is on him. And yeah, despite the condition of the children when they were found, he says he's never put them in danger. And to me, I feel like I don't know, like, do you truly believe that? Or like, do you just not understand like what danger entails? Because to me, like, failure to providing adequate living conditions, like not living in a storage unit that is essentially like only heated like once it gets below a certain degree, and then police finding your seemingly malnourished and uncared for children who have untreated infection, like that falls into endangerment. Just saying. He was also very upset when there was the charge of abandonment of a corpse, because according to him, he never abandoned the corpse of his wife. And what the court filings actually said is the defendant knowingly disposed of his wife's corpse without reporting the location of the body to the proper law enforcement officials. So it's like, we're getting worked up on the technicality here, Justin. It still like does not like take away what you did to your wife, like the fact that you dismembered her. But he just like, he's so stuck on like, I didn't abandon her. It's like, it's not about you. Like, you did this, and then you're technically like abandoning. You are like taking it up without like notifying police. Like, what? And having like a proper autopsy prior to what you did to take her to go bury her like somewhere else. It's just, oh my God. Anyways, he does actually, this is wild. He actually uses the fact that he dismembered her as supporting evidence that he never abandoned her, because in his words, he kept every piece of her that he could, and that it was the police that like took her from him after finding her remains. Once again, just completely missing the bigger picture here, Justin. Now, because of all of these pushbacks and his arguments, getting to trial, that was like a whole cluster F on its own. His initial assigned lawyers wanted him to go under a psych evaluation. In my opinion, that means nothing. That was very understandable. And it was Justin who fought it and eventually was found competent to stand trial. Then, during the preliminary hearings, he was often removed because he was just like talking out of turn, causing disruptions, interrupting everybody, and then like still going back on the whole like his rights are being violated and he needed to be released immediately.
I don't care if it's enough, because I have my children out there that their mother just killed herself, and you guys have kidnapped my children, our children, from their...
Okay, I need my laptop for this next part, because when he finally went to trial, this was the chance where like the public got to know a little bit more about how everything unfolded through witness testimony to get up and like to that point of getting to the U-Haul facility. So one of the people that was interviewed or testified, I guess, was Christopher Smith, and he was the manager of that U-Haul facility. So according to court documents, Christopher Smith testified that Justin rented the unit in August 2017. Smith stated that Justin Ray, was in and out quite a bit, accompanied by his wife and child, and that Ray's wife was very pregnant by October 2017. The morning of October 24th, 2017, Smith went to Ray's storage unit because Ray had set off the alarm the night before. The unit was part of an indoor facility with lighted hallways, and the heat in the unit only turned on if the temperature dropped below 45 degrees. On the morning of the 24th, Justin told the manager that his wife had died the previous day. My understanding too, after reading different articles too, and like trying to like get everything like pieced together more cohesively, was that I think there was like an argument or something like that between them, and Justin was basically being like, give me a break, like my wife died, not my mom. Jeez, Sherrilyn. My wife died yesterday. So as Christopher looked around the unit, it appeared to him that Justin and the two kids had slept in the storage unit, and there was a bad odor coming from it. After their brief exchange, Justin left the facility with the older child in a stroller and the infant strapped to his chest in a baby carrier. So according to the manager, Christopher, the whole situation there was a number of red flags waving, and he made the decision to call the police. He said, the odor, that was unsettling. And then him just seeing Justin walk off into the cold with these two kids, he was really worried about the children. By the time the police were called, though, Justin had already left with the kids, but he had called a man named Bruce Jeffries, who is the executive director of the church that him and Jessica followed, and he was asking Bruce for help. Justin tells Bruce that he's in Target with the kids and that Jessica died in childbirth. During the Target visit, Justin said he went to buy cow's milk for the newborn, and when another customer saw that, she interjected and said, if this is for the baby needs formula, and even offered to pay for it. It goes on to say that Bruce arranged to meet Justin with another member of the church and says he drove him and the kids around to various locations to pick up a paycheck, mail, and materials left at a hotel. While Ray went into the hotel to collect belongings, Bruce had a conversation with his colleague about whether to drive away with the children and leave Ray behind. Bruce Jeffrey explains as follows: nothing felt safe or right about the situation, so there were concerns. What was going to happen to the children? Where was Justin's wife? It didn't seem like he was being forthright with us, and we wanted to make sure that the children were going to be in a safe place. We knew that they didn't have a safe place to stay, but later on we decided that keeping him with us and talking to us and keeping that trust was more important. So they go to lunch, and Bruce says while they're at lunch, he receives a call from Detective Shannon Murphy, who was at his office. So I'm assuming this is where things are starting to cross over. And when Bruce told Justin that the detectives were coming to the restaurant, Justin bundled the children and left on foot. Bruce, I'm not blaming you for anything, but in the future, maybe don't tell Justin the police are coming. Gotta catch him off guard, Anyways, Bruce said he later called Justin offering to provide a hotel. So I think it was his way of trying to coax him back. And then Justin declined because he did not want Bruce Jeffrey to disclose his location to the police. So during this time, while he's kind of out on the lam, and also I know you guys, this is so confusing. So this is prior to him actually coming back to the unit and the police finding Jessica's remains. This is when the U-Haul manager first phone police with the concern, and then that's when they arrive at the unit, and then Justin arrives, and that's where they was and they get to see him with the kids and stuff. So that's how that all transpired behind the scenes to get to that point. So when he had left Bruce, Justin took his children to a bar and grill in the Waldo neighborhood of Kansas City, Missouri, and a customer who was there having dinner with his wife noticed Justin enter and sit down, and watched Justin put his toddler and infant in a booth. He also saw Justin have a brief conversation with a woman seated nearby, and then he went to the restroom. So this customer was assuming that when he sat down, he sees Justin set the kids, have this brief interaction with, a stranger, and then went to the bathroom, assuming that it was can you watch them while I go to the bathroom? When Ray comes back from the restroom, the customer saw the woman give Ray some cash. The customer and his wife discussed also helping Ray because of the two children with him. This customer had a brief discussion with Ray before giving him $20 and the leftovers of their meal. Ray told the customer he was waiting on a bus to go to a U-Haul in Lenexa before traveling on to Arizona. This customer was concerned about the children being out in the cold and dark, so he agreed to give Ray a ride. And during the drive to Lenexa, Ray kept the infant strapped to his chest. So like he had no, again, car seats. All of this is, also endangering Justin. So this Good Samaritan, it says, was with Justin at the storage facility when the police arrived. And at trial, this customer also testified that he was concerned as well about the older child's health, saying, like, to be honest, she did not look well. So at this point, it's 7 p.m. and Justin now calls Bruce Jeffrey back when he's at the storage facility. And he's asking Bruce to come and pick him up, saying that the police are there and he needs to get picked up. This court document goes on to say that the police did have some conversations with Justin where he did admit that he had stayed at the facility overnight. All the while, the baby is still strapped to him, crying cold. They're asking Justin if he has any way to feed the child. Justin says that he had just bought formula, but then he didn't have like a nipple for the baby bottle. So he was like unable to feed the child. This like absolutely breaks my heart. Like when you just think about that, and then a man who's still out there thinking that they're like so entitled and have done nothing wrong. The situation of these like poor children. And I hope all the good things in life are happening to that U-Haul manager who was like, something, the fork is wrong here, and called police and like got this whole ball rolling. Because it just like breaks my freaking heart to even think of what those like children like could have gone through. So police did call for EMS to come and perform, a medical check on the children. And this is when they did that, where they could see that they looked like to be in very frail condition, definitely a lot of signs of malnutrition, and that the newborn baby had already had this eye infection that needed like immediate care. So at this point, the police do arrest Justin for child endangerment, and they seize his cell phone that he has in his pocket. Put a pin in that information. We will get back to that in a minute. During the arrest, this is when they started like moving his belongings like back into the unit. And then the one officer who is like he's like wheeling the cooler back towards the storage unit, notices like, oh my God, like this is foul. And then also testified seeing fluid coming out of the corner and recognizing like from previous experiences that he didn't want to go there, but like this potentially could be like a decayed body in there. So that was already like in his mind instantly. So he puts the cooler down, secures the scene, and then applied for a search warrant. From what I know, though, prior to that even happening, it was Justin himself who was like, my wife is in there, and then them discover her remains. Allegedly, they also found, within the cooler, grapes, uncooked ground beef, ramen noodles, and a carrot. I just don't get it. I know we've said this so many times. It's like, I don't get it. Like, how do you make sense of it? And it's like, okay, well, it's because like our brains don't work like that because, we wouldn't do something like this. But it's like, why would anybody? That's what I don't get. Why would anybody? So when they were looking even further into the storage unit, not only did, they had the cooler with Jessica's remains, but they found a smaller black tote. And I guess within that, there was like a smaller lunch size cooler in it. And investigators testified that cooler also had miscellaneous human tissue. And it was leaking, also fluids. And then on the outside, it had My Little Pony toothbrush. Oh, it was leaking into. Yeah, awesome. Okay. Moving along, this document goes on to say that when Detective Murphy interviewed Justin Ray, he told her that he also told her that he was a Christian Scientist. He explained that he did not believe in traditional medical practice, but believed in the power of prayer and claimed to have delivered babies in the past. Justin also told Murphy that he did not call the authorities when his wife died in childbirth because he was afraid that they would take the children away from him. No forking crap, Justin. Like, what? So he says that he had to dismember his wife's body so that he could transport her to a reserve in Arizona for burial. During this conversation, Murphy realized that Ray's wife died in Missouri and a different agency would need to investigate her death. Now, this is where things get upsetting because based on the condition of Jessica's dismembered remains, the coroner who performed the autopsy could not determine the cause of death. All that they pretty much noted that there was a number of stab wounds and incised wounds on the parts that did remain of her body, but they were not able to tell if those injuries were inflicted before or after she died. Just a side note also from this document, it did state that the children were both placed together with a foster family and they were, able to get proper care. And the foster parent actually testified that the newborn baby was, on immediate antibiotics from the point that the ambulance brought her to the hospital, and then they kept her on those antibiotics. It took over a month for her to get better, which just kind of gives you some insight as to how severe the condition and the situation was. Now, remember the phone that was taken at the arrest? Justin gave permission to police to go through it. So I think they probably had already applied or were intending to apply for a search warrant, but he was like, here, take this. And he said, take this phone and go through it because it's going to exonerate him and show that he had nothing to do with his wife's death. Again, remember how I just said, it just keeps freaking getting worse? Yeah, one of those points. So Johnson County investigator Jason Novotny, testified that he did a physical extraction of the data on Ray's cell phone in 2018. The extracted data did not help exonerate him. In fact, it led to more charges because on the phone were images of young females in the nude who appear to be under the age of 18 years old. They also did a web history search on the phone and showed the term nudist teen. I don't even want to say it. Entered as a Google search on October 19th, 2017, okay? The search history, this is the day before Jessica died. The search history showed that the user previewed over 300 images from that search result. The user then took 3 screenshots. Obviously, investigators do not know who was holding the phone at that time of the search. He only knows that the phone saved 3 screenshots on October 19, 2017, with the specific times ranging from approximately 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. Again, just circumstantially, we're going to say, let's lay that out there for evidence, okay? This is the day before Jessica dies. She is extremely pregnant. Very difficult to believe that it would have been her doing these searches at 2 a.m, saving this. Again, can't be for sure because we don't know who was holding the phone. It just seems more likely to be one person than the other. And it's not Jessica, in my opinion. The photos on the phone were described as quite graphic. They appeared to be underage girls engaging in adult activities. That's the best way that I can say it, I guess. So Justin, he says a lot in circles and then tries to, insinuate things. So when he was confronted with this, he does make it clear. He's like, I share the phone with my wife. So I didn't do it. Who's to say that she didn't do it? Your dead wife who you dismembered, that one? Yeah. Oh my God, this man is just he denied looking at it. And then he said that, then not only did he say that after already putting it on Jessica, but then he was quoted saying that the phone was clean until it was put in the hands of the police officers. So basically saying that the police were able to like backdate it the day before your wife died and like frame you. Justin, come on. This I don't understand, but I mean, I guess it's like self-explanatory, but the district court found that his criminal history score was a D. And because of that, he was sentenced to 52 months, 4 years, 4 months on the primary offense of sexual exploitation of a child. The district court also imposed 2 prison sentences of 32 months each on the additional counts of sexual exploitation of a child. The district court ran these sentences consecutive, capping at a prison term of 104 months, which 8 years and 8 months. The district court sentenced Ray to 12 months in jail on both counts of endangering a child and another 12 months each on both counts of contributing to a child's misconduct or deprivation, with all 4 jail sentences concurrent with his prison sentence on sexual exploitation of a child. Because it gets worse. Because the coroner couldn't find the cause of death, in Jessica's case, he was never charged with murder for her. I don't know how many times I've said it on my own channel. And I know like so much of us think this and say this like on a daily basis, but it's like what needs to change? At what point is like being accused, not even accused, being convicted of these charges that are horrific don't hold the same sentence as murder? It's so upsetting. I mean, it's upsetting irregardless, like if you're like separating the two and that Jessica essentially like didn't get justice for what happened to her. But it's like there should have kind of been like at least even like some, not closure, but like I don't know the word I'm looking for, reassurance or something with the family of being like, you know what, at least like he's paying for these ones, he's being charged for this, like, and he's not going anywhere. It's just ridiculous. With even all of that being considered, this is what makes this next part even more infuriating. Having that sentence, okay, like that light that we're all like triggered right now, being like, what the fork? You should be locked away forever. This man appeals. He appeals the sentence. It was ultimately denied, but the fact that he tried to appeal is just insanity. And I don't doubt that he's going to just keep trying to appeal until like the last day that he's in prison. Not to mention, okay, guys, remember when I just kept saying it kept going? Yeah. Here, like enter phase 2, okay? Not to mention, his wife, Jessica, isn't the only person he has been connected to in a death or disappearance. So while he was awaiting trial for everything with like his children and the evidence on his phone and Jessica, he was charged with murder. It wasn't for Jessica. It was in connection of a missing Palm Springs man named Sean Farrell, who disappeared in May 2006. So Sean Farrell was reported missing on May 25th, 2016, according to Palm Springs police. And they said that he was last seen on May 7th, 2016, after going on a vacation with Justin Ray. And it was his friends who were like first alerted police because they noticed that there was a change in the text messages that he was sending. And they suspected that it wasn't Sean and it was coming from somebody else. So that's what they had at first. And then allegedly, Justin got on police radar, like even further, after he fled the scene of a car accident in LA and he was driving Sean's vehicle, which was a 2008 Mazda 3. And that was on August 16th, 2016. So he had already been reported missing like back in May. And then this guy's in his car, gets in a crash, flees the scene. When they searched the vehicle, there were traces of blood in the trunk. And then months later, that blood was confirmed to be Sean Farrell's. By this time, though, Justin, he had already headed to Kansas City. He had racked up over $55,000 in Sean's stolen credit cards. And then once they get on his radar, they find even more of Sean's property when they searched a different storage unit that Justin had. Makes you wonder, like, we have a storage unit, and I'm always like, I always do think about things like that. And so I'm like, what is in this person's unit? What is in this person's unit? Not to like, put like the fear mongering out there, but like seriously. So this one was in Arizona. And then when they looked at that one, they found Sean's wallet, credit cards. There was like letters, medication, and then laptops and other electronics of his in Justin's storage unit. They also were able to find surveillance footage showing Justin using Sean's credit cards on several occasions in Palm Springs, Yucca Valley, and Kingman. And during all of these, like snippets of the surveillance footage, Sean was never with Justin during these transactions. It was just Justin. I guess there was also an occasion where he decided that he was going to wear a disguise while using one of the credit cards. And then that disguise was found in Sean's vehicle, like the one that Justin was driving and crashed. So it's like, this guy, thank God he's like not smart, because like, it's like, at least, like if you're going to be like an absolute freaking monster, horrible human being, you make it easy to get caught and like serve your time, and hopefully it's miserable. Hopefully you get a UTI. That's always my go-to because they're so bad. I hate you, Justin. Now, I guess the way that they knew that Justin was the one that was driving the car was because there was a witness, one of the passengers who was in the car with him. And this is somebody that Justin offered to drive up to California. I guess they had met in Arizona, and then he was like, okay, like, yeah, no worries. I've got a car that's not his. And she knew this, actually. Plot twist. She knew this because like once she had already agreed and they were driving, she told police that Justin said to her, he stole it from an old dead guy. And then basically admitted that he was also using his credit cards. Didn't say the name, if I understand correctly, but said that. There was another witness too, which I guess was Justin's ex-girlfriend. And he also had offered to give her a ride, I think, to Mesa, Arizona. And she said this was around early August. And then while they were driving, he was also giving a ride to an unidentified, like hitchhiker. And she said that the hitchhiker kept pissing Justin off. And at one point when they dropped the hitchhiker off, Justin tells the ex-girlfriend, I could have just slit his throat and took his wallet, but I didn't do that. So I think the reason why police include that information is because they're just like, is that what happened to Sean? I don't know. His body sadly still hasn't been found. But in November 2017, Justin was charged with his murder. But because it's like this, like, when is this guy going to pay? Because of his charges in Kansas City, they were awaiting extradition. As far as I know, he has not gone to trial for the charges of murder, like for Sean Farrell. That will be very interesting to see how it unfolds because Justin did tell a Associated Press reporter a little bit about like his interaction with Sean. Like he doesn't deny that he didn't know him. And his story is like about what happened to Sean is eerily similar to kind of what he said to Jessica. He said that Sean had died of natural causes and Justin had burned his body in Arizona during a religious ceremony. Like, what are we doing here? This man is literally the definition of danger to society, and it makes me physically ill to just think about the fact that he got the sentence that he did. Like, there is a potential of him being released. Like, I'm hoping that, like, you know, the way that the justice system, like, sorts itself out, the charges with Sean Farrell will like either like come into play after he's already served that, or like I don't know how extradition is going to work or how it works really. Who am I? I'm just me, an internet broad who likes to talk about a plethora of topics. Okay, like I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but that's the only thing that I'm holding on hope to. He cannot go anywhere, and I feel like he's gonna. I don't want to say he's not smart. Like all he does like to delay things is just like disturb and like drag things out. So it's like that's the only thing in my head that I can think of him like buying more time and not having to like actually pay for something that's longer than 8 years. But then that doesn't make sense because it's like, no, they're not going to just like release him. They would bring him back like immediately, or there'd be a warrant. I don't know. I can't overthink it too much because I am spiraling, you guys. If you want to read his unhinged letters just to like really get a grasp on what we're dealing with here, like I said, I'm going to have them linked below, and I'm also going to have Kathy's podcast series on him. So yeah, that's it for me, you guys. I'm sorry. I wish that there was like, I'm feeling like there's not a lot of closure here because there's not. There really isn't. I just took you guys on a journey of pure rage. And yeah, I'm sorry. I'm truly spiraling. I feel like at the end of the day, the benefit to sharing these types of things is to put awareness out there, protect yourself, keep a lookout for potentially this guy who could be released. Because what in the forking heck? That's all I have to say, okay? I'm over it. Jurassic Jail, you guys. He could be like, we could like pretend we're gonna hire him at Jurassic Jail as like a groundskeeper or something. Because I feel like it would be like, this guy's like, he deserves to be like messed with. Because like that's what he does. Like he just like messes with everybody. He's just I don't even know. I was gonna say menace, and it's like, no, you're not a menace. You're just a monster. But we could, I feel like that would be like even better. Be like, yeah, like come on, like we got an opportunity for you. Jurassic Jail. We need a groundskeeper. So then it's like feel like we like lure him there on the false pretenses of having, a job at Jurassic Jail, and then we just let the dinosaurs like do their thing, like because they're always going to be doing their thing. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was really dark. I'm like, that was creepy that I'm like planning out this man's like luring, but he, you know what? I'm not even going to feel bad about it, okay? Because screw you, Justin. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I love you so much. I will see you in the next video. I will miss you terribly. Until then, make sure to love each other, love yourself, and I will see you soon.